Welcome to the Action Cousins podcast. We are your host,
Druid,
and Brick, and I'm proud to announce that we have our first guest, longtime friend, and hopefully a long-term partner on this podcast. That is Dustin.
Hello.
Dustin is going to come in, and he's going to hopefully be a mainstay for most of the time. He might rotate in and out, just kind of depend on his schedule, but he'll be giving you more than just his thoughts. He'll be also giving you his intimate thoughts. So keep that in mind, guys. Today we are going to do our second episode, our third episode in total of the Action Cousins podcast, and it will be a pop culture episode, guys. We are going to hit some pretty cool stuff today, but first, let's plug that network. You guys know Druid. You know him from his amazing Let's Plays that are racking up thousands of views. He's doing his current playthrough of Dark Souls 1 right now, gearing up for that remastered coming out on the Switch, which is definitely going to be what pays him to pull the trigger on that, right?
We'll see.
And then, of course, we have the Lagcast, which you guys already know about because it's burning up the airwaves with winning awards for the best new podcast. We're coming in second, by the way. And that's with Alt and, of course, Star of the Hour, Druid.
Yep. Got the first episode out. Hopefully getting the second episode up soon.
And we're hoping to stay competitive for the Livecast. We want to win that award, guys. So please check out our first two episodes of the Action Cousins podcast.
Our other podcast definitely wants to beat our other podcast.
Right. We're kind of like the Disney of podcast here. We compete with ourselves. That's it. There's no competition. So please support our other content. Our first episode of our pop culture episode, we hit on some really cool things. We talked about the new Han Solo trailer, Ant-Man and Wasp, Infinity War trailers. We also had some pretty good discussions about some comics, some TV shows. You guys should really check it out. Second episode was our gaming episode. We really went in depth on Heroes, Fire Emblem Heroes, which is a mobile game. We talked about some Monster Hunter World a little bit. Got a little excited for that. Druid's a pretty good fan of that. Please check them out. Today we're going to be going into some news and notes from around the pop culture sphere. The first thing we're going to discuss is the Venom trailer. They just dropped about 2 weeks ago. So, Druid or Dustin, any comments on that?
Yeah, I want to be excited for it because Venom's an awesome character, but the trailer just doesn't excite me. There's, not enough Venom in the trailer. It's just all about the actors right now.
There's a lot of Bane in the trailer.
There's a lot of Bane in the trailer.
There's a lot of Bane in the trailer. I'm waiting for the mask.
Well, so I haven't seen the trailer yet. We discussed this, but we just did this 5 minutes ago.
I know.
Okay, but yeah, so I'm assuming the guy who plays Bane is in the movie?
Tom Hardy, who plays Bane in The Dark Knight Returns, is Venom. He is playing the Eddie Brock version.
Now, if you haven't seen the Venom trailer, what would you want from a Venom movie?
I mean, okay, I like Venom, but Venom's got a weird history when it comes to the comics. Half the time, he started off as, Spider-Man's villain, and he was a super bad guy for so long, and then he kind of became an anti-hero for a while, and then he, the one, soldier guy got the Venom symbiote and became, a normal, a full-on hero, and I don't know, you said they're going with the Eddie Brock version. He was a villain, right?
Yeah.
He was, the first...
Well, Eddie Brock was... Yeah, Venom is pretty much the perfect pretty much representation of Marvel in the 90s. They make these really cool bad guys, and they're so cool, people are like, no, those are good guys. So that's pretty much what happened with that. And Eddie Brock did become a good guy, off and on. But who you're talking about is Flash Thompson, and he was the high school bully of Peter Parker who went to war, had a redemption, lost his legs, and became Venom.
Right, and you got the suit was what let him walk around.
Right.
Yep.
And that allowed him to start his redemption arc. He actually, ironically, does still not know, to this day in modern comics, does not know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. But he looks up to Spider-Man, and
did they redo the whole thing where in Civil War he just announces that he's Spider-Man on public TV, or does he just not watch television?
They got redone.
Okay, I want to say.
I want to say there was some Fantastic Four tomfoolery.
I was like, it's impossible to keep track of like what's
Yeah, they
actually
retcon
happening
things
and-
all the time.
Yeah, just don't even try to follow the timeline of any
Right,
kind
I
of
was say.
DC or Marvel.
Wiki
It just
is
doesn't
your
work.
best friend if you want to get caught up.
If you want to, get lost for 6 hours.
But the one thing I will comment on the trailer, and like you said, they don't show what you think of Venom. You think of Venom, you think this big, burly, alien, badass looking thing. You want to see it, and you want to see it destroy crap. What do you see in the trailer? You see Tom Hardy scream a lot, and you see some scientist poke him and stuff.
And you see some little black goo.
And some black goo, yeah. That's the
especially-
closest you see.
Especially that Venom. That Venom was like the ridiculously ripped, like
Yes.
him as Venom was just like
The Todd
Right.
McFarlane, bro.
Right, like
That is
the-
the original.
the ridiculously buff Venom.
So, there's no question that I think there's some backlash. There's no question about that. There's a lot of backlash right now in the community about this trailer. Hopefully, it's just it is truly a teaser trailer. They did not call it a true trailer. So hopefully, it is literally that, just to get the word of mouth spreading, and then they're going to turn it all around and give us the Venom movie that we think we want.
We will see, though. Hopefully it's something good.
But the bad side is, and I think this is also kind of my predicament with it, I don't think people really want it to succeed because it's technically a Sony movie and not a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. So people are kind of, I think, subconsciously thinking, like, if this fails, we can get Venom later in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Put it with the actual people who know what they're doing.
Right, because they want Tom Holland and Spider-Man to, they want Venom and him to fight eventually or become allies,
It's not Venom unless Spider-Man's there.
I agree. This is, I think, a lot of the problem. Venom is a great character, and Marvel for years has tried to let him stand on his own, and he's had moderate success, but he's never been an A-lister. And he needs Spider-Man to bring him up to be his, basically, Spider-Man's the 1A, he needs his 1B, and that would be Venom.
I mean, that's the whole, like, Venom is, at his core, a Spider-Man character.
Right.
That's like Doc Ock on his own. Doc Ock can be a cool character, which,
Doc Ock can also be Spider-Man.
Doc Ock can be Spider-Man. That's what I was going for. That's
Spoilers!
Spoilers! It's like, what, been, like, since we lived
been like 4 or 5
since we were roommates, so yeah, it's been a long freaking time.
Yeah, guys, like we said on last episode, we have a statute of limitation on spoilers. We go by 2 years around here, so that was 2012. So Superior Spider-Man is completely able to be spoiled at this point.
Right.
Doc Ock was Spider-Man for a while, guys.
Good read, though, by the way.
Sorry, I never finished it, so I need to like borrow the end of it.
Dan Slott gets a lot
or
of
read
crap,
it.
but that was a really good run of
I
Spider-Man.
can just read it online, but whatever.
I've got it all, too.
I know.
But yeah.
You also have the
So,
God's
moving
Light.
on. What's next?
Next, we saw kind of keep it. We had a lot of comic book stuff in here. You can tell it's a lot of what we're passionate about. So we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna talk about the Death Wish trailer, which is a remake that Drew was telling me about, and it's starring Bruce Willis.
Yeah, so from what I understand, it's a remake of a movie in 1974 by the same name, Death Wish. Basically, you have a character that becomes a vigilante and like learns how to shoot, becomes a vigilante, goes around and starts killing criminals and stuff. I haven't watched the original movie. It's just little tidbits I picked up. Looks pretty cool. I think it's the idea of like, it's that person like a lot of us want to be but won't because we don't want to like put ourselves in that kind of position and risk ourselves. But we love to root for that kind of person because they're taking out the bad guys, like dealing out what you would call real justice. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like controversy of that kind of position. But
Seems fair.
The movie itself looks very interesting.
So it's Punisher, the movie.
You see, guys, I lied. We
just-
went away from comic books
just
only to find a
saying.
movie that
We
is
just got-
literally a comic book archetype.
we just got off comic.
I just say it. Like you
See,
just
he
said,
brings it always back
kills
around.
his wife, and then suddenly he starts shooting criminals in the face. That sounds exactly like Punisher.
Yes, the plot is Punisher. No, because it's literally his wife and he has a daughter, and the daughter actually lives though, and then he goes around and just starts shooting him. But he's
okay.
a doctor. I guess in the original he was an architect.
Right.
I don't know the full
The
story on that
extent
one, though.
I know of Death Wish is I think they make a reference to it in American Dad. That is the extent of I know about this 1970s
But
movie.
it really just looks to be a good excuse to put Bruce Willis in an action movie.
Which
So,
you rarely need. It doesn't take a lot, to put him in.
It looks like it will be one of those kind of last minute big paychecks for Bruce because it seems like he's getting a lot of good traction right now. I've heard nothing but positive things about the trailer. So Bruce, it's been a while since he's had he's had some pretty good stuff come out, but nothing where it's like it was 5-10 years ago, where it was just breaking down money. So I think he's going to get a good cash paycheck out of this, and he'll be pretty.
No
happy.
more Die Hard sequels.
Yeah, which ironically, it's funny you say that because I'm pretty sure a new Die Hard's come out in the next year.
if Mission Impossible's not going to die, Die Hard's
Jesus
not
frick.
going to
And
die.
I will say, speaking of Mission Impossible, I've always been kind of on the fence about Mission Impossible. I've always been more of a James Bond guy. But that new Mission Impossible trailer looks fantastic.
How can the mission's apparently not that impossible since they've done it 7 times.
That's
I'm just
actually
saying.
kind of the plot of this movie from the trailer. They pretty much said, like, you expect him to do all this and get crapped on for all of his life, and then you expect him not to turn rogue on you at some
So
point.
we like doing the Jason Bourne thing? Where he,
Kind
like,
of pretty
turns
much.
around
That's kind of what it
yeah.
seems like it's doing.
I'm
Yeah,
not.
it's called Fallout.
I
so-
saw like the first 2 things. And
Okay,
that's it.
so like Mission Impossible, this is how it goes, and this is from like people who I know are like very invested into the franchise. Like I've seen the first 3. First one's very good. Second one's okay. Third one's not very good. But then it kind of turns everything around after that.
What's
and
the
then
one
they're
with
like-
Philip Seymour Hoffman where he shoots his secretary that like has like the living mask of his wife?
The masks get introduced, I think, in the second movie. So they use that throughout. That's a big plot
I
device.
just remember like
I'm 99% sure if I remember correctly. Granted, I was like 12, but they introduced the mask that allows you to take on the shape and person of everybody else in the second movie.
right. I just remember like
And they use it off and on throughout as a plot device throughout the series.
the last one I saw was on the film. It was Philip Seymour Hoffman.
I believe
and
that's the 5th one, which is Ghost Protocol.
I didn't actually watch it. I just remember that
Is Simon
scene.
Is Simon Pegg in it?
I have no idea. I didn't actually watch it. I just saw that scene.
Okay.
Where he's
I
like,
think
he's like, you think I won't shoot her? And he shoots her in the face.
Yeah, and it was only recently I found out. I think it's like the movies are based off like an old TV series because
Yeah,
like
it
that's
is.
where the mask thing was a reference to. But so yeah, the Mission Impossible trailer looked kind of neat. And oh yeah, we were originally talking about Death Wish, but yeah, to go back to Death Wish. Death looks pretty cool. It'll be a decent action movie probably. I'm not expecting great amazing things out of it, but it'll be a decent movie.
It'll be the movie that you buy and it sits on your shelf and you pull it out every so often.
That's the thing about action movies. Like, 90% of action movies aren't going to be this big, like, scene-changing, like, epic story. They're not. That's not where you're going to see them. People complained about like the Expendables when it first came out. It's like, oh, the plot's
love the
such.
Expendables.
You're not supposed to watch it for the plot. It's a cheesy action movie. Enjoy the people shooting each other in the face.
Yeah,
all
The
right?
Expendables was a nod to the 80s action movie, which is just over-the-top violence with a badass bad guy who just... Or good guy, sorry, that just is basically bulletproof and kicks butt and takes names.
Well, that changed in the third one where
They're
Terry Crews got shot.
they're the yearly action movies that just get you could go in and pay for a ticket and watch it. And
Yeah.
get your little excitement out of it. And
They're
maybe
what's
never watch
commonly
it
known
again.
as the popcorn movies.
Yeah. You're not supposed to think. You're supposed to enjoy
Yeah,
yourself.
you're supposed to shut down and just enjoy a movie.
Ooh, guns, explosions, Michael Bay.
The next thing on the quick notes and news is the Deadpool 2 trailer that introduced Cable.
Oh, Cable.
For anybody who's not seen the first Deadpool, you are surely missing out. But it's basically a meta superhero. So basically, he understands that he is a movie. He is a comic book character. He is, within his constructs. It puts the superhero genre movie that is booming so hard on its head. Like that's basically what it is. It's as close to a spoof as it can be without taking itself pretty serious. Also at the same time, if tightropes it and does a really good job. So the second one seems to be pretty much treading in the same direction. The trailer has been phenomenal advertising, including this trailer.
So I remember the teaser trailer was fan-freaking-tastic.
Oh yeah.
Then he got stuck in the phone booth trying to change. That was
Yeah.
great.
Like,
And then
all the trailers and teasers and like
Trazers.
posters look great. Like, did you see the poster where it was him like laid back on the chair with bullets raining down on him?
No, I'm not seeing that.
Like shell casings, basically.
Is it like
Yeah,
is
it's
it-
a reference to,
the
Dirty Dancing.
Dirty, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I want to comment on the original Deadpool. Unless you're under the age of 14, you should really have seen this movie at this point. It's amazing.
Also, yeah,
If you're any
you're
kind of
saying,
fan of superhero
You're sitting
movies.
there saying if you haven't seen the movie yet, who hasn't seen that fucking movie yet? Like people who don't even like don't even like superhero movies like that movie because
Actually,
it's so
sir, there's a
cheesy.
lot of people who don't like that movie because they took their 8-year-olds to it like an idiot.
That's because they're idiots. I remember what was the Facebook, the Facebook pledge where the chick's like, "Oh, can we make a PG version so my child can see this movie?" And
Yeah, I
like
don't have-
Ryan Reynolds like straight up said, "Fuck you!" Like we're going. I'm not doing this.
It was-
I didn't see it on Facebook. I saw it like people social media shit everywhere.
I don't see
He's
no
like-
social media I haven't
Like, I
read.
don't know if it was Ryan Reynolds himself or like someone like him. I don't know, but pretty much someone said, "Fuck you!" Like this is not a movie for children. This is a movie for grown ass adults, and you can go to hell. Like literally just says like.
And we did pretty good together, guys. I think we made it in about 15 minutes before we got that explicit tag on this one. So good job, guys.
Oh yeah, you're.
You dropped something earlier.
I know. That's what I said.
I'll say, listen here. I meant to ask before we started if this was going to be one that has explicit, but yeah.
We
Just don't
unwritten
overdo it.
rule is basically it is, but we just don't do it over the top.
That's all right. We can just edit in beeps, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right, guys.
Will be South Park. Which, to segue a little bit, there's a pretty cool thing I saw referencing South Park. So, recently got back into World of Warcraft for a few days. There's like a free time going around. There was a South Park episode about Warcraft where like they went and killed boars and stuff to level up. And like,
did you never see that episode?
no, I saw it.
Okay.
I'm talking about
Okay,
it.
okay. Go ahead. All right.
Yeah, so there was that episode referencing it. They recently had a patch come out in WoW that made all the old areas scale as you level. So people decided, well, hey, I'm just going to go and kill boars to level 60 because they level with me. So some guys went and did that and killed like 32,000 boars or something like that.
Jesus
It was some
Christ.
insanely high number and got to level 60. And it's like, that's pretty awesome. Like, but yeah.
Remember the whole thing about you cannot kill that which has no life?
Well, it's people that play Warcraft. And
I mean, we play Warcraft. Well,
there's some people that...
I know, but...
There's a difference between playing Warcraft and living it. Exactly, Druid. Exactly. Living it.
Some people visit, some people live there.
Yeah, that's right. Some people just take a little stroll around the block. Other people are like, this is my block.
So,
I live here now.
Got off topic a little. Were we done with Deadpool then? I mean, we're all pretty excited for it.
Just pretty much the one great thing that I guess to just kind of curtail this is I'm 95% sure almost every single thing in the trailer is original content. It will not be in the movie.
Oh, yeah, obviously. Like,
So, like, majority of it, like, they show a couple little quick teasers in the last trailer, but this is all original content they're doing to promote the movie, which is so rare. It's so cool.
I don't know. Like, I see some of the, like, they showed some of the action scenes. Those will probably be in the movie at some
Right,
point.
in the
but,
last
like,
trailer, they showed some of the action scenes,
right,
which...
with the cable ones.
And it looks like they might have introduced the X-Force, which was pretty cool. And one of the still frames people have seen, and they've analyzed it, so no spoilers here, but there's some pretty big stars in there if you want to look at it.
So I saw Negasonics in there again. Megasonics in there again.
Right, she had a
Right.
close-up, but there's some pretty big stars that are in the X-Force itself that they show in the copter at one
See, I
scene.
don't know X-Force, so...
So it's okay. We won't spoil it
No
here because
Deadpool
some people
and-
don't want to know that until they want to get surprised in the movie because as of right now, none of these people have been billed as, like, in the movie.
Right. I know Deadpool and Wolverine are both in X-Force at some point or another, but...
Yeah, it's a rotating class.
Right.
Actually, like, the original X-Force was a Cable-based team. It was Cable, and, like, it, like, took place in the 90s, and it had, like, Cable, Deadpool, Shatterstar, Domino, a whole mix of cast, but pretty much the edgier X-Men is basically what goes in there. But to kind of get past that, let's talk about something a little lighter, also still kind of superhero-based, but Incredibles 2 had a trailer.
Yeah, it did. I mean, when did the first one come out? Like 2004?
I want to say that might be correct. I think it's going to be right at 15 years when it comes out.
Yeah, that's
long freaking time.
Does it come out this year?
It does come out this year.
Yeah, so about 14, 15 years, yeah. Wow. It's like, I didn't realize it was that old, but yeah, it looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch any kind of Disney Pixar movie that comes out that looks,
Right.
especially one based off Incredibles. So, yeah.
I'm hoping... Like, I was hoping that we'd see more of a time skip with the sequel when they announced the sequel. Well, when they first, like, teased that the sequel was coming out. But then this is, like, literally right after... Like, taking place, like, chronologically, like, chronically or whatever.
I can understand that want, but you have to understand this is the Fantastic Four movie we've all wanted and never got. So you don't grow up the family when you love the family.
Are we talking about the trailer here, or are we gonna keep that spoiler free for now?
With the trailer we can go into, I say pretty much anything that's in the trailer is fair game, but just like if you know insider information besides that, don't go into that.
Okay, so like I like how Mr. Incredible isn't going to be the focus of like the superhero side of it.
I think that's a red herring. I think that's the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Really?
Yes.
Because
I think it will, because you're watching The Incredibles. It will be at the end of the movie. I guarantee you the first half of the movie will be Elastigirl doing her thing, being the hero, getting the sponsors, and then you'll find out something's not right, and the family have to get together.
Well,
to fight.
yes. I'm talking about like I knew that. Like, obviously they're all going to work together because that'd be lame if they just focused on her and then they don't like ever do any more superhero action except for like if we're gonna Jack is a disaster. But no, like I find it funny because he is was like the biggest hero of all time and like in the golden age of heroes for them. Like
right.
He was like the superhero. He was like the Superman. Everyone knows him. Everyone loves him.
Yeah.
But I was actually talking about this someone at work. I was like, it makes sense that he wouldn't be the focus for the resurgence because he's also the cause of the fall of the superheroes. Like his actions are the ones that started the banning of superheroes.
Right, because he's the one who basically created Syndrome.
Right. Well, the Fall of Superheroes is not from Syndrome. The Fall of Superheroes was the lawsuit where
Right.
he was, even though like again the whole wasn't.
But the other thing is too, I think it's just kind of a parallel because in the first half of the first Incredibles, you get Mr. Incredible. We already got that movie.
Right.
So they're going to show Elastigirl, which in all seriousness, she's got such a cool power set. She's Mr. Fantastic, the woman, and she is very versatile, and I'm sure they can do some really cool looking stuff with her.
Also, a lot less chance of collateral damage with her involved.
Yeah. So I'm sure, there's a reason they'll explain that. And the also thing I want to comment on that's really impressive is Dash sounds almost identical to the first Dash, and he was played by a kid, and this is a brand new kid who's playing him.
Really?
Yeah. Listen to that trailer again and just be impressed. At least I am. I was very impressed. Everybody else was reprised by the same people because they were all adults, but Dash was played by a young kid.
Oh, wow.
Which makes it pretty impossible to have that same person play the
Yeah,
same
and
character.
he sounded. If it wasn't for the fact that I actually saw a comment based off of that, I would have never have known.
I'm saying at this point, he's like freaking. He'd be,
He's in
20s.
college. Yeah. He's actually in a band, a popular band. He's actually like a bassist or something in a popular band now.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's probably not much younger than us.
No, he's right. I think he's just a few years younger than us. I think he's like 21, 22.
Oh, wow.
So,
all right. So, yeah, Incredibles looks pretty good. What's next on the docket?
the last one, which is, I swear, guys, this will be the last one of the superhero puke fest here. But
There's a lot of superhero stuff.
But this one's a little bit different. So it takes a little bit of both East and West here. But this is about the new DC animated movie, Batman Ninja, which is pretty much an anime take on Batman. And they have a trailer that released. I think the movie releases in a few weeks to Blu-ray and DVD. But
I would say less anime adaptation, more like a Dynasty Warriors adaptation of. Like it's.
Okay, I guess it comes out in about 8 weeks. It comes out in April. So, but yeah, I don't know. I disagree with that because that seems to be. There's a lot of. Me and Drew were talking about this earlier. There's a lot of new animes that use this exact same CGI style.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm 1,000 years behind on anime. So.
Well, that's,
Yeah, there's a couple series on Netflix. One's called like Knights of Sidonia, which I guess has pretty good reviews, but the animation style looks really weird because they're going for this like 3D style CG look.
Right.
and
It just doesn't feel as good yet.
I feel like for them at least it was a more of a stylistic choice because they're a sci-fi genre.
Right.
So kind of did a little bit different. This
Right,
was
like-
being like a feudal Japan fantasy action hero thing. It's even kind of weirder.
I mean,
Yeah, because like a lot of sci-fi things have like
Weird.
weird. It's supposed to make you. I think it's supposed to make you feel like
Alien,
it's more
yeah.
alien. Right?
Yeah,
It makes
exactly,
it feel. It looks weird, but it's like it's supposed to. It's not. You're supposed to feel less natural. Is the whole idea behind it.
I mean, conceptually the movie looks like it might be fun to watch and
Right.
everything. It's just like the animation really doesn't do it for me
But-
because I don't like that style.
Let's be honest. DC animated movies have knocked it out of the park for
Right, so
ever.
they
the most
deserve.
part, yeah.
Yeah, they've had a few misses here and there, so this movie is definitely going to get a watch.
Right.
There's no question. I have a feeling that this movie is either going to be a cult classic for years or it's going to be a dud.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like it's going to be like popular. It's just going to be there's a certain type of people who are just like, oh man, like
Yeah.
despite the presentation of that trailer, man, this thing has some real good dirt on it, man. It's got some girth. It's a really good meaty Batman story.
You know, you bring up how like the DC animated movies have been amazing. I think the main reason for that is they take the big events from the comic books and like really flesh them out in animation like you would want
Right.
to see. Whereas like
Flashpoint Paradox.
yeah, oh
and,
god, Flashpoint
yeah,
was
that was-
so good.
I'm way behind on like the newer ones. I think the last one I saw was Flashpoint Paradox. I own like 3 of them. I just don't ever sit down and watch movies.
Well, have you seen the Justice League one? Because that's after
Yeah,
Flashpoint.
I saw Justice League one, the reboot one.
Because I'm pretty
right?
sure
Those-
Flashpoint Paradox was the beginning of the DC animated stuff.
Like Flash. Well, no, they've got some old stuff like
Well, I mean, they're
Batman
because
Doom.
this is considered their DC. It's called the DCAU. It's the DC animated universe.
Right.
And Flashpoint Paradox is the start of that.
Oh yeah, I'm talking even older ones were great, like Batman Doom or
Oh,
whatever.
anything
was
from like
fan-freaking-tastic.
Tim verse on,
Yeah,
I think, is pretty good.
Right.
Under the Red Hood.
Under the Red Hood was
all
fan
that,
freaking
yeah.
tastic.
I think pretty much anything Tim verse on is pretty good. So you go from like 92 on DC animated, it's been
Like
fantastic.
Right.
the one that I've seen, and I know I've not seen all of them. The one I've seen that I didn't really care for was The Killing Joke.
I've not seen
That
that.
is the only one that is critically panned by most people.
That's the first R one, right? First rated R one.
Yes, it's because the only reason why it's critically panned is not because it's art, it's because they changed a lot of the source material.
Yes, I wasn't saying it was panned because of the R. I was just
There's rape. There's like shooting a pregnant woman. There's sex.
I mean,
it's not like shown. It's just
wasn't-
like implied.
Wasn't
but-
that kind of like? Wasn't that run like a really dark run with
Yes,
that kind
it's
of
a
shit in
darker
it?
run.
It's an Alan Moore run, and Alan Moore, as you know from Watchmen, is very dark.
Yeah.
So
But they even added more in the movie. Like there's a sex scene with Batman and Batgirl, which
Right.
doesn't happen in the comic apparently.
well,
Isn't she like 20 years younger than him? Like,
yeah.
I've never seen them
So-
in like a
Yes.
romantic.
So-
Which is also why the people are like,
That's,
In the original comics, she's about 10 years younger than him. In the modern comic, she's about 15.
right.
Because she's originally in the original comic, she was older than even Dick. There's
I just
about a
don't-
5-year age gap between her and
Like,
Dick.
there's never been a romantic thing between
No,
Batgirl
it's
and
always
Batman.
been like an uncle niece relationship.
Right. He's
Yeah.
always been like a
Because
father figure
right,
to
because him and Gordon are best friends.
all his wards. Right. That's weird. That's weird. Why would they add that?
But that's more of a Bruce Timm thing. Actually, Bruce Timm has always been a very big shipper of Batgirl and Batman. Go watch his original stuff. There's a lot of sexual tension between them.
Who's
Bruce Timm created Batman animated series, Superman animated series,
okay.
Justice League
okay,
Unlimited.
Good.
Yeah,
Huh.
yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen
actually, Bruce Timm, I'm pretty sure, is actually one of the people who was like the main focus of the Killing Joke. I'm pretty sure he's one of the guys who made it.
Well, that would since he's such a obsessive with shipping with him, it takes.
Yeah,
That's
so
still
supposedly-
that's pulling so far from the source material. Like I get that might be your favorite thing, but like
Yeah.
don't change the
Most
source
people,
material.
if they ship Batgirl, it's always with Dick.
Well,
It
yes,
seems
yes.
to, or an original type partner.
yeah. But I mean, like overall, watch it if you want to see Mark Hamill be the Joker again.
Oh God, that
And because
that,
he does it well, it's just the movie is not great.
that alone, I would probably watch it just for that.
Would you
Because
say it's worth a watch?
once.
If you're a fan of Batman, sure, but probably just the
Casual
one time.
DC goer, yes or no?
Probably not.
No. Okay, fair enough.
So just because Mark Hamill's in it, I have to watch it because just Mark Hamill's the Joker. Like, come on.
I'll go play Arkham Asylum again. I'll be fine.
Is he the voice for an Arkham Asylum?
Yes.
Oh, I haven't played Arkham Asylum. I've only played City. I skipped Asylum.
Oh, that's his coming out party, man.
Oh God.
All right, guys. That's going to do us for news and notes for this time around. We're going to kind of get into our more meaty discussion topics. So, Drew, do you want to start things off? Is there a topic you really want to get into?
Oh yeah. So the Black Panther movie came out last week? Yeah, we're not gonna
This week,
We're not
Tuesday.
Gonna,
It came
this-
out
we're not
literally this week.
Well, it
or
was,
last week.
it was technically last week. It came out on Thursday.
Oh, yeah,
We
this
will
week
keep.
is for me.
Drew and I have both seen it. Dustin has not. So we will keep this spoil free, but we will go in depth as much as we can without spoiling any plot.
Yeah,
Screw the both of you.
really, really good movie. Like probably one of the better Marvel movies in recent years, especially.
I agree. There, and I will tell this right now. Like right now, it wasn't so bad with when me and Drew saw it because the hype was there, but not as much as it is now. Like the people who haven't seen it now, you're gonna hear so much hype for this movie. You're gonna think this movie cannot live up to it. It is not the best thing ever. Don't get me wrong, but this is a solid 9 out of 10 movie. Like this is gonna be. You're gonna think after seeing this, if you had superhero fatigue, you're gonna say that's over with.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I went into it thinking like, okay, maybe this will be another decent superhero movie like Marvel does really well, like maybe another decent Ant-Man or Doctor Strange, and it was like, oh wow, this is like Winter Soldier. Like,
Yeah.
I would
Oh, yeah.
compare it to that. Like it's really, really good.
that's actually exactly what I'd say. This is probably my second favorite Marvel movie, right behind Winter Soldier. And the only reason why Winter Soldier wins is because I'm a Captain America fanboy.
yeah.
So, chronologically, where does this movie take place?
It takes place literally right after Civil War.
Okay.
He is on the helicarrier.
Is he the only build character in this, or like?
Oh no.
Okay, I didn't know if okay. So
This
I don't
is-
really want to know specifics. I'm just
This is
considering when it takes
if
place.
you don't know
there's already like
if you don't
5
know
heroes
Black
there.
if you don't know Black Panther, you're not gonna know these characters, and they do a great
No,
job.
no,
of
I meant
introducing
like of the other already
Oh, like the
established.
main
There's like
Avengers?
5 other superheroes there. Like, did they
Okay,
make
no other
appearances?
superheroes make an appearance,
Okay.
but
No, they're established superheroes.
2 established characters do make appearances, but they're not superheroes.
Cameos and. like-
No, they're like in it.
Okay.
One's a villain, one's an
I've seen
ally.
the one from the trailers. The dude.
That's Ulysses Claw.
Right. I've seen, he's in the trailers because he's like one that's driving the car, and she
Yeah,
like. puts
he's
the
played
spear
by
in front
Andy
of it.
Serkis, who is known for Gollum. From
Really?
Yes,
That's Gollum.
Yeah,
Did
that's
not
Gollum.
know that.
He does. As I described this, he does his best impression of a Joker character. Really, he is the wild card. You never know what the hell he's going to do next, and he just knocks it out of the park.
You say a Joker character, and that just still brings up Rage from BVS.
What?
Batman vs Superman,
You
where they
mean
made
Suicide Squad?
where they made Lex Luthor into like a Joker character.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Okay.
Right. You're talking about they
okay.
makes a Joker character.
Oh well, this is a good Joker.
Yes,
character.
yes, yes. I'm just every time I hear someone's like, "Oh, that's like a Joker style."
Like
character.
he has his motivations, like you understand what he does, but pretty much he just like loves being a bad guy. It's just pretty much his shtick there, which is great because the next villain, Killmonger, is completely different.
Oh, Killmonger was so good.
Killmonger is literally the like he's exactly what a villain should be. He is exactly how you should write a villain. He is a villain who has a reason for what he's doing and it makes sense and it makes you think throughout the movie, shit, he ain't wrong.
And that's the best kind of villain, really.
Yeah.
Like, it makes you think. I mean, but no, man, the movie was amazing. Like, it did way better than I expected. Like, I didn't think it would have, like, such a good world-building element as it does.
The one thing that just can't go without being said here, as we're getting flipped off by Dustin, it's just the support cast is by far the best support cast in any movie, and that's including the Avengers.
Yeah, no, for sure.
They perfectly, like, they're the highlight of the movie, and I don't even mean that in a negative way. Like, Black Panther needed them, and they needed Black Panther, but, like, it's just they complement each other so perfect. They all get their one moment. They all have fleshed out characters. They all have their motivations. You understand why they do the things they do. There's only really one instance in the entire movie that I can think of that one character acts out of character, and that's it. In a 2.5-hour movie, one instance.
Yeah, and I would say too, like talking about the supporting cast, the movie does a really good job of just kind of throwing you into what's going on and not like, oh hey, this is this person, this is this person.
They don't
like,
spoon feed it to you.
Yeah, they're just like, oh hey, yeah, no.
This
Oh,
is
you
you're naturally meeting these people rather than being like,
yeah.
Look, origin story.
And I will say they do Wakanda so well. Instead of just making it seem like this futuristic utopia, they make it seem like what it would actually be a futuristic utopia in Africa. Like, everything is based in their traditions, their rituals, and it makes sense that logically that would be the next step.
Yeah, it's very, very believable.
It like isolation, especially isolationist wise. Like, there's not a lot of meshing of cultures. I'm assuming.
Right, that is one of the main conflicts
That's why-
of the movie, is
well,
isolationism
that's
versus
why,
helping.
That's why, like, I'm assuming I haven't heard or anything, but I'm guessing there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be like bitching, like, "Oh, you're trying to appropriate like African culture, yada yada yada."
As of yet, I've not heard anything like that.
I could
but
see
I'm
something
sure
like-
there's always
There's always-
bigots. So
I could definitely see that happening, but it's like you gotta look at it from that direction. They're isolationists. These are people who literally never mesh with other cultures. So yes, this would be like African culture evolving.
the only complaint I've heard about that, and this is coming from 3 white guys reviewing this
We
movie,
are
by
white
the way.
guys.
And the only complaint I've
We
ever
are
heard
white.
about culture was actually just like from Africans, and they said like this is a great representation of Africa, but it's very evident it's an American viewpoint of Africa.
Yep.
Yeah.
But they said like, but not. They don't even mean that as a negative way. They say it's almost like flattering. Like, there's some things that are inaccurate, but they said it's also fantasy, so it makes sense that it would be a little bit inaccurate, and that's the only thing, is because Wakanda focuses a lot on America in the movie.
Well,
And also just because, but that's also for a main reason, which you'll find out in the movie. There's a reason why that happened, so it's very well the thing. But I would definitely say I do not feel like there's, as a white guy watching that movie, full of 98% of a black cast, I thought they did phenomenal. I would love to see more movies like it. I thought they did a great job. I'm glad they didn't white cast people that didn't need to be cast that way.
Yep, for sure.
what's that called? Whitewashing? Like
Whitewashing,
that?
yeah. Or even just like a different race that didn't need to be there. Like, it made sense that everybody there should be black, and that only a few white characters, they didn't harp on them really being white. It was just they are who they are, and that's why they're there. And that's the other thing. They did, like, for a movie that's getting a lot of buzz about being like groundbreaking for race, they really don't focus on race that much.
Well, really, if you think about it, you can't be groundbreaking about, like, that kind of stuff if you focus on it, because then that's like you made it to focus on it. Like, you make something, you're just like, look, everyone's black, isn't this great? It's like, yeah, that's not what. Now you're just making a political statement and not being an actual movie.
And there is political statements in the movie. I mean, and some of them are, right on the nose. Don't get me wrong. Like, they don't hide it. Like, it is what it is, but it's for a reason and it's good.
Oh yeah, no, but definitely worth a watch. Like, go see it in theaters, see it in your IMAX, it's your real 3D if you want. But
Definitely.
I watched it in regular.
Face.
I watched it in regular definition.
Same here.
Fantastic.
Same here. The other thing I will say is you really don't need to see any other Marvel movies before you see this. It stands on its own. The only reason the only 2 Marvel movies you might want to watch, and it's just because it gives you background, but they cover the one in the movie, is Age of Ultron explains Ulysses Klaue, one of the villains,
Right.
and they do a pretty good job of showing you he's a bad guy. That's really all you really need to know about him. He's a bad guy, and they explain what he did to be why everybody's pissed at him in the movie. So you don't really need to see that if you don't want to. So if this is your first one, this is a great jumping on point. Like, you don't need to watch the 12 other MCU movies to enjoy this movie. So that's the other thing. Don't let the huge catalog of Marvel movies take you away from this great movie, because it is a great movie.
And then the other
Absolutely.
movie.
Oh, the other movie would be, of course, Civil War, because it takes place right after it, but they show the exact scene you need to see from Civil War to get from this.
Yeah.
So,
It does introduce Black Panther and give him like a story. Like give him
Right,
more. It gives more depth to the character
yeah, you
who
get to
is the main
see
character.
his character arc from Black Panther to King.
I mean, yeah. Ideally, you watch all the Marvel movies and everything all makes sense together. But like, it's a good movie that could probably stand alone.
Yeah.
So like, there's that one. There's not a lot of those. There's like what Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, and
Pretty
this
much
one?
everything from that was definitely, you can tell, the mission statement from Phase 3. Everything from Phase 3 on is, we want our heroes to stand on their own.
Yeah.
We don't need to plug everybody in because our work speaks for itself now. And you can tell that it seems like there's going to be a changing of the guard after this new Avengers movie, and the new Avengers are here. It's probably Ant-Man, it's probably Doctor Strange, and it's probably Black Panther. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, and maybe Spider-Man.
Oh, of course, Spider-Man. Spider-Man ain't going
I haven't
nowhere.
watched that yet either.
I
I'm
have not
off it.
either. I'm ashamed. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan,
I know.
and I haven't watched.
I
Homecoming.
own it.
Really? You have not seen Homecoming?
I have not seen Homecoming yet.
I own it and haven't watched it yet.
Okay, so the other mission statement of Phase 3 is really good villains. Literally, probably number 3 villain of all in MCU is the Vulture in Homecoming. Watch that damn
Really, the
movie.
Vulture is that strong of a villain?
Dude,
That just shocks me.
Keaton, amazing.
I'm just gonna
Watch
steal
it.
a movie from your house so I can watch it because you
Just
won't.
come to
watch
my
it.
house. We'll both watch it.
All right.
It's funny that you own it, you haven't watched it.
Dude, I have a stack of literally like 20 movies that I've bought wanting to really watch that I just don't have time to sit and watch
You
movies.
can play Pokemon for 40 hours. You can watch a movie.
I'm usually playing
Shameless
something
plug
else.
for the next episode, by the way. We will go into Dustin's insane Nuzlocke challenge of challenges.
So I think we've touched on Black Panther quite enough. Then let's move on. Great movie. Watch it.
Yeah,
What else are we? Wanting
other
to talk
thing
about?
is I guess the last thing to kind of say on it is just, Jesus Christ, it's a great movie. I just cannot be understated. Is it like breaking the mold here? No, but it is just so good for what it is. So, Dustin, you need to watch it. You're a disgrace.
Yes, shut the... I have Tuesdays off, alright? Have tickets
All
for
right.
half price.
So I'm gonna go to we're gonna keep it obviously comic book, but I'm gonna talk about the new DC kind of initiative here to get new heroes into the fold here, and I talked about it briefly last time and my excitement stuff, but it's called the DC New Age Heroes, and it's a spin-off of their current event called Dark Knight or Dark Metal, isn't that right?
Metal.
Metal. It's just which is basically
It's a really, really dark run that's
Yes.
going right now.
yeah
where, like,
by
yeah.
is it Scott Snyder? I think he's writing it.
I
I can't remember. I get confused. There's a director who's no, that's Zack Snyder. So yeah, Scott Snyder is the one who's writing it. He's done a really good job. It's really dark, twisted, but I haven't read Metal, but I know these all spin out from it. So it's basically this new group of heroes that are come out, and they're kind of okay. It's not kind of. They're all based on Marvel heroes, and basically it's DC saying Marvel ain't doing things very well the last couple of years. We can do it better. They've introduced 3 heroes so far. The first one is Damage. He is basically Hulk. He is a soldier who got volunteered into a program. And basically what happens is he can turn into Damage, and he has an hour to be Damage. And when he's in Damage, he's invulnerable. He's this giant brute. But after that happens, he's out. He's like comatose for like 23 hours. So they use him as basically a nuclear warhead. They take him to the crappiest places on the planet, drop him like a warhead, leave, and just let him destroy and kill things.
Because I think you mentioned this to me. I think it was you talked to. I'm assuming it was me and you talking about this.
Yes.
Yeah. The more damage he takes, the stronger he is as damage, right? So it's straight up like Hulk stuff.
Pretty
That's
much,
Why
yeah.
they literally just throw him out of a helicopter.
Yeah, pretty much.
So he hits the ground and is just already.
He's a pretty cool character. The very first issue basically has him escaping the military because he's tired of being used as basically a bomb. So he's basically saying that's not what I signed up for, and he tries to run away, and then deals with the consequences of that. The second group is called Silencer, and she's kind of a little bit of Punisher-esque, kind of. she has this ability that she can create a bubble around people that literally is basically like a deprivation tank. No sound can go through it at all.
Just sound or sight or
It's no, like, you can't get out of it, so you're stuck in it.
right.
But nothing you do creates any noise.
Oh yeah, okay, that's not deprivation. Deprivation is
Like
complete.
all
senses.
all
are
senses.
gone.
But yeah, but they haven't really gone into it too much. But she is basically an ex-assassin who worked with Talia al Ghul, so in some sort of probably League of Assassin type way, and she got granted to live a normal life somehow. And you don't know how, but she did. Well, other people who are hitmen and assassins are trying to take her out. They found her. They found her and her family, and they're going to kill her and her family. Well, she decides that she needs to do what she does best, and that's kill people. So, it pretty much is based off that premise, and she's trying to balance being a mother with a young son and a husband that she adores and protecting herself and killing people. So, it was pretty interesting first issue. It's definitely darker for DC. I mean, they have some dark stuff, but it's definitely...
Darker for a main run.
Yeah, it feels very Marvel-esque in the fact that it's kind of darker. It balances real life with, she's not a god. She's not one of these god tier characters. She's just very street level, balancing life with being an assassin who's trying to get out of the business. So kind of John Wick-esque also. There's a really cool scene in it that she stabs this android guy with colored pencils in the abdomen several times over that are gifts for her kid, and it's fantastic. The last one is Sideways, which is kind of based off of Spider-Man and Nightcrawler. It's a mix between the two. The costume looks like Spider-Man, but his powers are basically Nightcrawler's. He can create these rifts in time and space that he can instantly teleport between. So he can have half his body out somewhere else in there. But he's very much Spider-Man. He's quippy.
Thinking with portals.
Yeah, he's very quippy. He's very Spider-Man-esque looking. He so far has got the most positive buzz out of the 3 titles. But he seems to be, if I'm going to guess, of the ones that are going to stick, he's probably going to be the one. He seems pretty cool. He, the one thing he did that was kind of cool in the issue, he had his costume designed by a cosplayer. So kind of stuff like that would make sense in a real world function. He's who would make a superhero costume? A cosplayer. So he goes to a cosplayer friend
that's smart. I like that.
Yeah, and has her make one for him. So yeah, it's a really cool series. Every one of the so far has only had one issue. The next one that comes out is The Terrifics, which is basically based off of the Fantastic Four.
I could have called that from a mile away.
Yeah, well, it's called The Terrifics because the leader is Mr. Terrific, which is basically
That's not even subtle.
Well, to be fair, he is a hero that has a long lineage. He's been in the DCU for probably 60, 70 years.
Okay, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's not even
He was one of
subtle.
their first black superheroes.
Was he a reference to Fantastic at that point, or was he just
No.
a really cheesy name?
Just a really cheesy name.
Okay.
He literally has a black T over his face. But he's known, literally what he is, he's the smart, I'm pretty sure he's billed as the smartest man in the DC.
Yeah.
Him and the Atom, I think, are tied for the smartest people.
Right.
And so he has gadgets and stuff like that, and that's pretty much, he doesn't have a power, or his power, he might actually have metahuman and intelligence. He might actually have a power in that sense. I don't really know much about him.
It's weird when you consider when they make metahuman stuff like that.
Right.
You're smart. So if I'm just normally smart? No, you're super smart.
There's nothing he can't figure out smart, basically.
Right.
So in that sense, he's kind of Reed Richards in the sense of that. But then the other team is Metamorpho, who is you probably remember from Justice League Unlimited. He's the guy who's multicolored, body wise, and he could turn into different metals. He had a white face. He had an orange scale look here, purple.
Yeah. It looked like a weird combination. I thought he was something with Aquaman because he had that old school, that orange that looked like Aquaman's old school uniform.
Yeah, so he's Metamorpho. He's in the team. He can literally turn any body part into a certain piece of metal and use that. And then Plastic Man, who is in the team. Which Plastic Man is one of the most OP. If you want to look up somebody who's OP, look him up on the wiki. One of the most OP
really
DC characters. Yes.
I didn't know.
His feats are.
He's just
ridiculous.
Mr. Fantastic powers.
He's
right?
more
He's
than
super
that.
stretchy.
He literally is immortal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. He got revived from a plastic egg. If that tells you anything recently.
Revived from a plastic egg.
That's how he's on this team.
He can pretty much morph into anything.
Okay.
Yes.
He has the stretchy powers like Mr. Fantastic, but it's on a whole nother level.
He can he can literally turn himself into anything.
Nifty.
and it functions.
So he turns himself to a tank and just start
Pretty much,
firing
yes.
shots.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the last member is a woman, and I forget. She's also a DC hero she's been kind of a BC tier hero, but she's been around for a while, and I can't remember who she is. And she's like a legacy character also, but she's in the team.
So the idea is take these old characters who have never really shined on their own, except for I guess apparently Plastic Man, and
Well, Mr. Terrific's had some pretty good runs in like other team-based books, and even some like Justice League West Coast and stuff like that. He's had some pretty good
I'm
stuff.
talking about solo stuff. Like none of these are solo characters. It sounds like
No, they've
They're
all had like. If they've had solo runs, it'd be like miniseries.
Right,
It'd be like
right.
a 6 to 12 issue miniseries.
So they're trying to make these characters relevant again. So it sounds like to me.
Kind of. They're just. I think it's literally it's a showcase of these new artists and these veteran writers, and they're pretty much going to see what sticks.
Right.
And it's just a way to get these guys some legs, basically.
Right.
Get these guys some books under their belts and something that they can work on and really have nothing to be intimidated by. So I think that's kind of the problem DC's running into. People are like, "Oh God, Batman! Like what
Right,
hasn't
right.
been done?" So
Literally nothing.
So it's like they give you these characters that are pretty much fresh traits. They have history. They have things you can pull upon that when read about, but they're pretty much fresh. And there's also a couple other books that are coming out with this. Like there's the Immortal Men and a couple other things. I can't remember off the top of my head, but I think there's 8 different comics that are spew out of this.
Controversial opinion: Batman, the most overrated hero in the history of ever.
Okay, guys, I will not tell you where he lives. Do not assassinate him.
He is so overhyped. It is
All guests have
ridiculous.
their viewpoints are not the viewpoints of Action Cousins Podcast. We reserve all rights not to be legally sued by their viewpoints.
Just saying, the most overhyped hero in history. Like I love Batman, always have since Batman the animated series because I watched that as a kid. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But then like you get into the freaking fan base and people are so obsessed. Like, oh, he's the greatest hero in history. He really isn't. Like he's kind of a douchebag, and like his whole bit is he's a detective, which they've kind of gone away from the whole detective aspect in a lot of versions of him.
Yeah.
Like his whole bit was just that he was a really good detective. He's like Sherlock Holmes and Bruce Lee was the whole idea. Kung Fu Sherlock Holmes was his whole bit, and then like now it's just like everyone's like, oh, he's like he can defeat any hero ever, and like not really. Like most of these, like especially these like alpha or whatever omega level heroes can look at him and kill him if they wanted to. They just don't.
But Batman has a plan.
Yeah.
I have a plan for this plan.
Batman has plot armor. Let's be honest.
Yes, exactly. The only reason Batman is so powerful, quote unquote, is because of plot armor. If he was not as popular as he was, he'd been gone a long
To
time
be
ago.
fair, if we're going to deconstruct the superhero construct like this, everyone has plot armor.
Yes, but I don't know anyone who's got bigger plot armor than Batman. At least everyone else has some sort of power to keep themselves
In
alive.
DC, pretty much the whole Bat family is pretty plot armor-ish.
Okay, but
Well.
they
Well, they die, but they come back.
always come back.
Hell,
But that's
Bruce
by,
has died.
That's by extension, though. Like if Batman wasn't so plot armory, then the extended characters of his universe wouldn't be so plot.
But Batman's died too. I mean, yeah, Batman is literally supposed to be the greatest human, like on the earth. That's pretty much what he's supposed to be.
Was Batman hogs all the plot armor?
He hogs a lot of plot armor.
I always use it like this in my to make it make sense in my head. You got Superman, who's basically Zeus of the gods, right? He is the god of gods. He's the best god among gods. Batman's Hercules. He's the best human among people, but he's also kind of like a demigod.
I'll say Hercules wasn't human.
So like, they say he's human, but pretty much like
Achilles.
he's basically like, well, even Achilles was demigod.
Really? I
Yes.
thought he was just dipped in the fountain.
Almost every hero was a demigod.
Yeah.
I thought his whole bit
Zeus
was-
had sex with some person, and bam,
person,
it's
creature,
a hero.
thing.
Boom!
Rock.
Out of my thigh.
It's Greek mythology in a nutshell.
But pretty much that's how
I'm
I
gonna
always,
stick my dick in it.
how I kind of rationalize it is, Batman is Hercules, so he's kind of like a demigod. He's human, but he's also peak human, which is pretty much comic book speak for like demigod. And then you have Superman, who's god of gods. He's the best god tier superhero. So
Yeah, so I think we got a little off topic there. What,
a little wee bit, but that's okay. That's what the discussion's all about.
We're talking about Batman.
We're allowed
Oh
to.
no, it's fine.
Well,
But,
no, we're
like,
talking about DC.
The quick notes we try to keep on topic a little bit more. Discussion, we can go on tangents, whatever.
So other stuff we're excited for then, or we're doing right
Well,
now?
I got one more discussion and one more comic book thing, and that was flip it over to Marvel. We've done a lot of DC today. X-Men Red. It was a new X-Men book that's coming out. I think it's the 6th X-Men book that's come out in the last year. There's Astonishing X-Men, X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold. There's, I I think Weapon X and Generation X, I believe, and this would be the 6th or 7th book. But it is out of the events of Phoenix Rising, which is Jean Grey is back from the dead for the first time in 16 years. She died in 2002, I believe. So, which granted, we've had multiple incarnations of quote-unquote Jean Greys, but they have never been the original. So,
Didn't the original come back from the past at one point into the future?
They proved that wasn't the original. But
Okay.
that's, we talked about that briefly
you mean
last
they
time.
retconned it?
Yeah, they retconned it and then retconned it again that it was the original, and then retconned it again and killed her and said she wasn't.
Okay.
So, and that all happened within like 6 months.
Fun.
Yeah. So the
American
original
comics.
the original Jean Grey is back. She has her own X-Men team, and I've read the first issue. That's the only issue out, and it is very good. It is an X-Men book through and through, but also it's finally makes sense that somebody of her power level is doing what she's doing. She basically her mission statement is, I'm coming back into this world. The hate for mutants is worse than it's ever been. Not only the hate for mutants, but the hate for Inhumans, the hate for power people, the hate for humans is worse than it's ever been. There's nothing we can do by being X-Men to fix this. We need to fix the world. We need to fix society. And there's only one thing people hate more than mutants: change. And it's a great start of a book. And basically she's saying, I am the strongest telepath in literally existence. I can do something to stop this. So she pulls together literally the brightest minds possible, including like Black Panther, including Namor, philosophical people, architects, engineers, scientists, all of them together in a room. Mind links them and says, let's come up with a solution that fixes the world. So many panels later, they're like, oh my god, that might work. So she puts that plan into action. You as a reader do not see what that plan is. So she tells Nightcrawler about this plan. Basically, she said, you're my best friend. You're one of my best friends. We've been friends since we were kids.
Kind of love Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler's the best X-Men. # true.
Hashtag facts.
And she tells him, basically, like, this is my plan. She mind tells him this. And he's just like, all right, well, we need a team. And she's like, well, I don't know if I need a team. I'll come at it diplomatically. He was like, oh, people are going to take their shots at you. You need a team to protect you. He was like, we just got you back. Don't want to lose you again. So Nightcrawler and her form a team, and it's consisted of a lot of new X-Men and some fan favorites, like all new Wolverine, which is X-23. She's in it. Her sidekick, Honey Badger's in it. Really awesome character. Don't judge by the name.
Wolverine and Honey Badger. That is a fantastic team.
She is literally a 12-year-old girl who is amazing.
Woo, okay. Didn't know that existed. That's great.
You got Nightcrawler. I'm trying to think who else was a big X-Men member that was in the team.
So that's why I just bring the comic with you.
Yeah, that would have been a smart idea, but I didn't do that. But there's a lot of newcomers too, which you're going to get introduced over time. It's just, so far, it's a really fun read. I'm looking forward to it. I definitely recommend checking it out. The other X-Men books I know are doing pretty well, but I would definitely, even if you're gotta scrounge together through the couch cushions to find that $4, X-Men Red is definitely worth it. That's it for me on comic discussion this day. Anybody else got anything else, Dustin?
Well, I mean, me and Druid here have ranted about this a little bit. Did we bring manga up into this?
Yeah. This is all pop culture, so manga, anime, anything is up.
Ippo.
So, people probably never heard of this, but it's called Hajime no Ippo, or Fighting Spirit. It's a long-running boxing manga in Japan. There's over 1,100, almost 1,200 chapters now.
Something like that. It's ridiculous.
Very, very long-running series. Very good series if you're into boxing and just, like, pretty solid character development that takes years and years to happen. But
well, like, it's also very semi-realistic. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, like, it's like, okay, come on, no one can do that for real life. But, like, there's no, like, over-the-top powers or super abilities. It's just, like, it's a very martial arts manga that's, like...
And the way I would put it is it's got, because of the different characters that are introduced, there's different tiers of it. Like, you've got Ippo, the main character. His stuff is very real and technical. Then you've got Takamura, who's, like, the god-level character.
Right. I mean, some of, like, the whole Dempsey roll thing, that doesn't really work in real life the way he does it.
It's also a manga. So,
well, yes, that's what I'm saying. Very semi-realistic.
There's some suspension of disbelief, but...
I don't know if they've released any more chapters since last time we talked. I've not looked. I'm assuming you haven't looked either?
No, they haven't.
I swear to God, if it ends this way, I want to stab someone in the face.
Also, to preface this is a shonen series, and if you don't know what shonen means, it's very stereotypical. You have a hero, generally, and he kind of defies against all odds type. So that's kind of where this is coming from. You watch him or her kind of build up from nothing into something, and then eventually they kind of get the quote unquote plot armor until it's not relevant. Very stereotypical genre, but it's very fun to watch when some very capable writers get their hands on that genre. And this is one of those. This is one of those times.
Yeah. So
his plot armor's not very strong. Okay,
no, it's
not at all.
It's not. But
Again, it's when it's convenient.
I really don't think we should touch on like things that are happening 1,200 issues into it.
Okay,
but,
I'm just saying.
But like the series, definitely worth reading. I mean, it's really long. You'll be able to read it for months and months, depending on how fast you read. There's also 3 anime series out for it that are very good. I haven't watched all the original, but the 2 newer ones have really cool effects and everything, and touch on some really cool arcs from the original manga. Pretty much like, panel by panel of the manga for those ones. But good series, definitely worth taking a look at. But yeah, we're both kind of frustrated because of some new developments in it right now, and it may just end abruptly without things getting resolved the way we would have expected. Being very
1,200 chapters later.
And we've been reading this series for like 6 years, so
yeah,
and it's been going for
way longer than
probably 25 to 30.
When we started, there were hundreds and hundreds of chapters in. So
no, when you guys started, there were like 600 chapters in, 600 or 700.
Hundreds, like,
I don't know, but yeah,
lots.
Because you guys got to remember, this is a monthly magazine, it's a weekly magazine.
There's probably 800.
So there's 52 issues a year.
We get it kind of also at a weird rate because
yeah, I remember when you guys got into it because it's one I was constantly glancing over, and it was around 700.
Okay, well, but yeah, so that's definitely a good one to read. Just we're hoping that the developments change a bit and are a little more pleasing.
Though I did love Takamura's like response there, like the whole hope of having a companion in that way, and then it kind of dying and him just like screw it,
Yeah. So
we'll
have to talk more about like this and other manga at a later point. What are we moving on to then?
Yeah, I'm gonna say this issue is a very American comic focused episode in American culture, but yeah, we'll definitely do another episode where we focus a lot more on anime and manga because we could talk about that for hours
and hours.
But yeah, we're gonna kind of just go into kind of some things we're excited for, which Drew kind of like talked about earlier. Kind of piggyback off of Black Panther. After watching the end of it, as much as I said it stand on its own, it does a great job of hyping up the new Avengers movie. By the end of it, I just thought, I want that movie now, and I want to have watched it already 5 times.
Infinity War.
Yeah, definitely need Infinity Wars to come out. Deadpool as well.
I mean, the concept of Infinity War is also, a huge, thing. It's a huge, event. Like, all the big events always make good ideas for blockbusters. Let's be honest about that. Like, they don't always translate to super well as the actual event. Like, Civil War was a great movie, but it wasn't to the level of Civil War. Like,
well, I think the reason there's so much hype for this one is because it's been building up since like the very, very beginning.
Yeah, not quite the very beginning.
Pretty much the beginning.
Well, you could make that argument.
The first Avengers movie.
Yeah, and you could make the argument that the very first Marvel movie was building up to the Avengers movie. That was building up to Thanos, which is basically now. But the reason why I think it's so big is because this is literally the Avengers movie of the Avengers movies.
Right. It's pulling all the characters even more characters.
Every movie of Avengers has gotten bigger in scope, and this one's going to get huge. And that's the other thing people are like, I keep on hearing people thinking this is going to be the end all be all. Like, people are expecting people to die in this and people to drop left and right, and this is going to be the movie that shapes the new Marvel Cinematic Universe. But people forget this was originally supposed to be a 2-parter, but now instead they're just going to be a 4th Avengers movie instead of being a 2-parter. That will probably be where most of that takes place. Do I expect some Avengers to probably die in this movie? Yes. But I don't expect this to be the movie that shapes the future of MCU.
The peek behind the curtain, we've discussed this before, actor who plays Captain America.
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans doesn't want to play Captain very much, does he? Or has he gone away from that by this point?
That was more of a
he didn't like being typecasted into that whole,
That's kind of changed his tune, really. He pretty much said he'll play the character as long as the paycheck keeps coming because it allows him to bankroll what he wants to do, and he wants to direct.
Oh, yeah. And he does, independent. He likes his little independent.
Like, his big movie that was, success that he kind of, had his first hand on was Snowpiercer, which is based off of a comic adaptation as well. But, he's in some other, artsy, more fancy true like cinematography type movies since then.
Yeah, I was reading an article where he was like being interviewed, and he's like, the thing I'm most proud of is this random movie. I can't remember what it was, but
Right.
he's like, no one will ever see this probably because it's some artsy like, side
and
thing.
and I think he's realized, like in the beginning, I think he was kind of thinking like, oh, I want to be serious and do that, but I think eventually kind of saw the whole picture and he's like, oh, I enjoy doing this. I get to do like Make-A-Wish things with kids. I enjoy doing that. I get to be Captain America. I get to be the face of this. I'm going to kind of ride this out until it's over. Would that be after these movies are done? Possibly. But I wouldn't be surprised at all if he signed on to do 1 or 2 more Captain Americas. Or even a couple more Avengers.
I was like, he's talking about people dying. I could definitely see him falling because, there's also the whole Captain dies and Bucky takes his place in the whole, like, comic level. So.
Well, I don't know about that. And there's for reasons why, but without going into too many spoilers.
So I'll avoid.
Again, kind of peek behind the curtain things. I don't think they're going to go that direction. I think if anybody takes the mantle, it'll be Sam Wilson, Cap Falcon.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be Bucky.
He does that too, also, right?
He did, yeah. He just had a 2-year run as being Captain America.
Yeah, so that would tie in
That
more
was
with the recent
Old
comics.
man Captain, right?
He was, but even when he was an old man for about a year, and then when he came rejuvenated, actually, I think Falcon was maybe 3 years of Captain America. And he was Cap all the way up until the end of Secret Empire, and then Cap took over, came back, became Cap again.
So you keep saying these words, like you know what you think I know what they mean.
Secret Empire was the last event in Marvel Comics that happened last summer. It was where Stevel, also known as Evil Captain America, took over the world, and he pulled the ultimate Rouge.
Is that the Captain's Hydra? Captain's Hydra.
He tricked the entire world, and you get to see what Captain America would do if his convictions were not for America but for Hydra, and he thought Hydra was the true American ideals.
So like Red Sun almost from DC.
Pretty much, yeah,
right?
kind of. Except for kind of taking it even further because he legitimately wins.
Yeah.
So,
well, the idea of Red Sun, because the idea of Red Sun was like the Cap or the Superman was the people's champion or whatever for like
Russia,
the communist.
Yeah, of USSR.
Right.
But yeah, kind of like that. They pretty much, long story short, they tinker with reality and change him to basically think that Hydra raised him and protected him, and it's the true idea of the American spirit, where they protect the weak, they look out for the weak, they are the good.
Right.
That caused him, that caused him to get in some tomfoolery and to become what people like to call him as Stevel. At the end of that event, long story short, things get restored.
Retcon.
Not really.
Yes, I know. I'm just.
But kind of.
It's comic. It's American comics. Everything's
so kind of.
retcon.
But after that, Falcon becomes Falcon, and he gives up the Captain America mantle. And he actually gives up the mantle during the event. He basically said, if my best friend is this terrible of a person, I do not want to be Captain America. This is a tarnished mantle. So.
Wasn't Falcon originally called the Black Falcon?
He was not.
He was not.
Nope. He was always, I think his original name was Pop, or something like that. Because he was a thug and a criminal originally.
Okay.
And Captain America sets him straight, and then he becomes Sam Wilson.
So
isn't that Pop?
That's Pop from Luke Cage.
No, not Pop as in like a father. Pop as in
the character from Luke Cage, whose name was Pop, and it wasn't because of anything. It was because the sound his fists made when he punched someone in the face. Pop, pop, pop. That was the whole.
I'm pretty sure that's probably based off of this, but I could be wrong.
Maybe a reference. Maybe.
Yeah, but I'm pretty
back
because I'm pretty sure they've even retconned that now. Like in the movies. They went with Ultimate Sam Wilson's origins instead of like him being a criminal, then getting reformed by Captain America. They went where he was a military brat and was in the Air Force, and then got Tony Stark tech. So in the comics, he was a reformed criminal. He would do he did nothing like he would do like B&Es and stuff and like car breaks.
Right.
So
thuggy dude. Just
but he wasn't he didn't
like
kill anybody or anything like that. But and it's like father was a pastor and like that played heavily into it and stuff like that. Which is also, I'm pretty sure, in the Luke Cage show.
Luke Cage's father was a pastor.
Yeah, so I think they might have stole Sam Wilson's original origins.
No, Luke Cage's father wasn't the pastor. Well, Luke Cage was the bastard son of the pastor.
No, that was the villain.
Yeah. Am I flipping them around in my head?
Yes, you are.
Okay.
That's why he's the villain.
God, the second villain was so bad.
Yes. That's a discussion for a different day. But, yeah. to get off track, I don't even know why we got on that tangent of Secret Empire, but
we were talking
oh
about
yeah. So I don't think that I would assume that Sam Wilson would be, if any of the actors take over Captain America, it will be Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson as Captain America. But I would not be surprised if nobody takes over the mantle.
Yeah, that'd be okay. I mean, there's plenty of other heroes.
So yeah.
So
There's like an infinite list of heroes.
So yeah, Infinity Wars we're all excited for. What else is coming up?
There's the kind of DC related. There's the Aquaman movie. It's coming out, I believe, in October.
So we were discussing this before we started. Aquaman is the only flipping character of the main core of DC heroes that has never recovered from the Justice Friends era, or Justice, whatever it was called back in the day. The Aquaman is the only, like, for casual fans, is the only Aquaman people remember. They're like, oh, he just talks to fish. That's his only power. It's like Aquaman's on par with Superman, like, depending on the alliteration of Superman, of course, because some Superman levels are God.
Yeah.
If we're talking like the basic Superman, not the God level Superman. Aquaman's on par with him, like, in powers, and he's one of the strongest characters in DC, and people just cannot get over. Like, Holy Hamburger's Batman definitely they forgot all about that, but they can't give up on campy, ridiculous Aquaman.
I think this is hopefully, like you said, hopefully this is the start of a new era where, like, the comics have done a great job of making sure you think of Aquaman as a badass, but I think the movies are starting to do that. Jason Momoa is literally badass personified.
Like in the Justice League cartoons from the, early 2000s was that when they came out? We watched when we were younger. He was a freaking awesome in that. He was
that was the Captain Hook.
Aquaman. He was a dick, but he was still like... Yeah.
Aquaman's supposed to be kind of a dick.
Oh, yes, he's... Yeah, he's kind of a racist.
He's a king. He's a king.
And a king.
Yeah. I haven't watched the Aquaman trailer, but I mean, I'll definitely
there's not a trailer right now.
Oh, there's not. Okay.
No, there's not a trailer.
Poster.
There's just a release date, and the cast, and the director pretty much. And I think they just wrapped filming like 3-4 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, I'm really not that excited for it, but I've also not been a fan of like the DC movies lately. So it's just like, if it's decent, great.
I still haven't seen Justice League.
I don't go in expecting a lot.
Justice League me and Druid here saw it in theaters. We also saw Thor Ragnarok on the same day, and Thor Ragnarok blew it out of the water.
Yeah, that's kind of what I expected.
Like, Marvel has had just movies that you're just like, oh my god, that was a great, fantastic movie. Every one of DC movies has been just not from the Dark Knight was the last great DC movie in my opinion.
I disagree completely.
I did not like Dark Knight Rises was okay. I did not think it was great. The last Wonder Woman.
Yes.
I'm not okay. I'm talking before. Okay, I'm sorry. I meant between.
Don't diss my girl.
Wonder Woman was good.
Wonder Woman was great.
I'm talking about between Dark Knight and Wonder Woman. Everything between that was like there wasn't that many. There was only Dark Knight Rises. There was Batman vs Superman. There was a Superman, the first Superman. Man of Steel. Those were okay.
I liked a lot of Man of Steel. I just didn't like the ending.
They were okay. They weren't fantastic, great movies.
I love the fight scenes of Man of Steel because that's
fight scenes were fan-freaking-tastic.
Those were great because that's exactly how a Superman fight scene was. And I like the fact that they hit on the fact that it's an inexperienced Superman and he fought in structures and that probably killed a bunch of people. Like, that was cool. Didn't really like the ending of it, but yeah, Wonder Woman's fantastic. It might also be that she looks so much better in comparison to the other movies because they're so bad.
It could be one of those things, yes. Honestly, I don't think if that movie stood up by itself, I don't think it would be considered as great as it is. But when you compare it to the other movies within its series,
Gal Gadot she's Wonder Woman to me, and I think that helps. Like, when I see Wonder Woman, I think Gal Gadot.
Right.
Just like how I see, if I see Robert Downey Jr., he's Tony Stark.
Oh, definitely.
So it's like, and
that was probably the best. That was probably the best casting in the history.
So that's the one thing it has going for it. The only there's a couple DC characters like that. Like, I really do think Henry Cavill could be this generation's Christopher Reeve's Superman. Like, where people think that's Superman, but they should. Henry Cavill is so damn charming, and they want to make him dark. Let him be charming.
He does a very good Superman. He does the Boy Scout very well. And the best part of Batman vs Superman was
Superman being Superman.
Well,
at the end,
I thought the best part was of that movie was Batfleck.
Oh, Ben Affleck's a great
Batfleck. What he made, and I love what they did with Batman in this. That's the thing. I love what they did with him. They made him older, more cynical, more kind of world wise, street Because every other generation, most iterations of Batman, he's about the same age as everybody else, but for some reason he has this like much more like worldly
Wise,
view,
yeah.
and like it doesn't make sense. Like it's like, okay, they've all been through a lot of dark times. Your life's not much darker than most other of these heroes. Why do you have this more like a like older view kind of thing? Like,
And also helps that Ben Affleck looks like he's still like 28,
right.
even though you're like, oh, I know you're in your 40s, but
Well, I like what they did with him, where they made him like older, like
Yeah.
because Jeremy Irons, right? That's who plays Alfred, right?
yes.
He was like, even he has that line where it's like, even you have grown too old to die young. Like I like that. Like I like that he went.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's like, a lot of people just like to shit on these movies, but like, they did some things right.
Yes, overall the movies were not that great, especially Batman vs Superman.
They were
You needed a lot of foreknowledge. Like I kind of understood what was going on. My wife had absolutely no idea what was happening.
Yeah.
You probably knew everything because you're the
Yeah.
most comic knowledge person I know. But like,
But
I'm really hoping that.
they were 6 and 7s when we wanted 8 and 9s.
Like I'm
And that's
really
pretty much where
at
it
best
is.
they were 6 and 7s. I'm really hoping that they
Except for Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was
a
fantastic,
good-
which is why I'm
good movie.
hoping that Aquaman will also be great because
I
it's
agree.
another standalone.
Yeah.
Like
They should have done it proper. If they would have done their standalones, let's be honest, Batman versus Superman should have outsold every single Marvel movie hand over fist
because
because
it was they literally are two.
they're literally
had
the
three
two
of-
most marketable superheroes in all
and they had their
history.
third most marketable hero, like of
Right,
DC.
but they never should have shown.
They cold dropped two heroes.
Yeah.
Their two of their top three heroes they cold dropped in this movie.
Yeah.
No introduction, no nothing. Boom. Like you can't do that with major superheroes. Like you can do that with like side characters or like smaller heroes or like you guys are talking about Black Panther where they weren't spoon feeding you characters. I haven't seen it of course yet, but
Yeah.
you can't do that with like you couldn't just throw Captain America in for the first time ever. You have to give his story. You have to give him a build up
Yeah,
because
I agree.
he is.
They should have been patient. Warner Brothers got greedy, and they should have followed the Marvel script. They laid it out for them. It would have worked.
I mean, this is like the biggest problem when you're comparing DC to Marvel, like cinematic movies, is the DC's ones are just very much rushing it. They're trying to catch up to Marvel, but it's not.
Marvel
gonna
had
work.
what like a freaking 10-year lead before they started dropping
It was
there.
a couple of years.
4.
4?
Yeah.
4.
Between are you
Iron
talking
Man.
like modern or
No, we're talking
dark?
We're talking about from the Marvel is 2008 is when Iron Man dropped. 2012 is where Avengers dropped.
No, I'm talking about between Marvel starting and DC starting cinematic universes.
That'd be Man of Steel, so that'd be 2011, so that'd be 3 years.
Really? There's only 3-year difference?
Yes.
Wow. But then they only did their
There was-
very next movie was Batman vs Superman in that line.
Yeah.
There was a lot more of the Marvel movies, though.
Right.
So there was a
had,
lot
like,
more to build upon.
There
but
was
Well, see, they
Fly?
did a smart thing with building because they still had Dark Knight Rises came out in 2012, which was not a part of the universe. At that point,
Right.
they were still deciding if they could possibly get Nolan and I can't think of his name right now. Who played Batman?
Bale.
Yeah, Christian Bale. They were still trying to think if they could possibly bring them into the fold, basically.
do them into the
Yeah.
cinematic universe.
That
instead
fell
of the
through
Dark
because
Knight
Christopher
universe.
Nolan wanted to do his own things, and so did Bale. He wanted to do his own things.
Honestly, I
I think that's for the
with
best.
the end of the Dark Knight Rises, yes, definitely for the best. Because Dark Knight Rises was
They would have
in my
they would have
opinion,
like retconned that shit, or like been like Superman would have like pulled him out of a new reality or something
I'm just saying,
retarded.
well, I'm saying,
but
Dark Knight Rises was boy.
But yeah, but long story short, I just think DC, they can still right the ship. It's not too late. Just do these solo movies, get them knocked out. Supposedly we're supposed to get a Cyborg movie and a Flash movie and things like that. Possibly even a Green Lantern movie.
Oh God, I hope so.
like, just take your time, do them right, and like
The Lan-
don't
It will
try
write
so
it-
hard to be Marvel.
It will write
And
itself.
all of DC, the Lanterns, I think, are the best like concept in all of DC, in my
They're
opinion.
very cool.
I love the concept of them.
We'll go more into that at another time. We're going to kind of wrap things up here and kind of get into our closing stuff, guys. Don't forget, we are part of the LAG network. That stands for League of Apparent Gamers. We are the Action Cousins podcast. We have our sister/brother podcast, however you want to call it. That is the LAG podcast with Druid and Alt.
Yep.
They talk about games mostly, but they also do hit some other pop culture type stuff.
Yeah.
They get some pretty cool insight. We're hoping to maybe get Alt on here at some point. We also have Let's Plays from Druid. He's doing Dark Souls 1 right now. As of this recording, he should hopefully, if you're listening to this now, he should hopefully have maybe episodes 5 and 6 out as well.
Hopefully, yeah. Like as of this recording, I only have up to episode 3, but the other ones are ready. I just got to dub over them, so hopefully I can have 2 or 3 more episodes out by the time this actually comes out. So, but definitely check those out. I mean, I'm trying to do this really for the first time, so I'm hoping they're interesting. But you know, give them a watch, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. This and all our content, obviously.
Yep.
We really appreciate any kind of feedback.
We have a Twitter. It's I believe it's at Lag Network.
Yeah, Lag Network.
Again, our YouTube channel is League of Apparent Gamers.
Yeah, we don't have a specific URL. Just search League of Apparent Gamers.
I'll get you right there. We have a Twitch, but we haven't got any content on it, I don't believe, as of yet.
No, it's, yeah.
And that's also under Lag Network, I believe.
It's Lag Network or Lag Gaming, something like that.
Yeah. So please, we will obviously keep updating things. If you have any suggestions, criticisms, whatever, please comment them, like, subscribe, as Drew had said. Dustin, do you have anything you'd like to plug? Anything you've been doing recently that you'd like to get out in the ether?
I'm sitting there. I'm trying to start streaming lately. I streamed once, had one viewer. It's very exciting.
Shout-outs.
You can.
So what's your Twitch name then?
My Twitch name is Hirroth, Hirroth. Just find me.
So you guys heard it here first. Dustin is Hirroth.
I am Hirroth.
The mystery has been revealed.
Yeah, they revealed the whole one viewer.
What games are you hoping to possibly stream?
Right now I'm streaming Subnautica because it just recently got its full release, so I'm starting to try that out. Hoping to try to maybe get you guys to play with me at some point. We might be able to do some Smite at some point again, and we have some great recordings of those days back hidden in my file somewhere.
Yeah, we do.
But, yeah, like mostly it'll be what game I kind of feel like playing that day. I don't have a consistent schedule because I tend bar for a living, so it's hard to get consistent. I try to stream on Thursday nights, so about 9 o'clock. So
there you go, guys.
Good time to come try to find me.
9 o'clock Thursday nights. Find Hero. That is Eastern time, by the way.
Oh yeah.
That's important.
That's important. That's very important.
He as of right now he's doing Subnautica, but keep posted, and hopefully he'll post some other stuff too. Kind of the last thing, guys. We're gonna do a little trivia to let you get to know us a little bit. It won't take long, be a few minutes, and then we'll kind of get up here, get off. We're kind of just gonna go in pop culture. We're just gonna name one favorite show, one favorite movie, and one favorite comic or manga, whichever you prefer. And it doesn't have to be your favorite, but just something to let people kind of get a little more inside knowledge about you. Let's go with our guests first, Dustin.
Crap, put me on the spot.
So favorite movie.
Favorite movie.
Or a favorite movie. It doesn't have to be your favorite. Just kind of let the fans kind of get a little sense of who you are.
A movie you really like. So.
I love Road to El Dorado. That's one people don't really remember very much.
The DreamWorks movie.
It's an early-ass DreamWorks movie
that great.
Kind of like got forgotten about. TV show. I'd probably go with like Daredevil right now. Like the Netflix Daredevil is probably one of my favorite shows. Like the just concept of it all is fantastic.
It's a great show. Yes. Fantastic.
And honestly, I've not read enough American comics. Like
don't have to be American. Be a manga.
I know. I'm saying I need to read more because you guys have access to them, and I'm broke most of the time. Well, not broke actually. I'm just cheap.
There's this thing called borrowing.
Yes, I know. It's hard to do that.
The Library of Breck is always open.
EPO right now. Definitely EPO because God.
I love hate it right now.
Oh, love hate. Yeah. All the love hate.
All right. Well, we'll swing it over to Druid.
Yeah, so favorite movie, like Road to El Dorado is definitely up there. It's one of my favorites.
Road to El Dorado mentions, guys.
Probably one of my favorite movies, though, is Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back. It's really more of a nostalgia thing for me. But
watch that many times.
I can just watch that and enjoy it because it's just so funny and has like so many good jokes here and there.
We put that thing on loop sometimes when we were like roommates.
I love it. So yeah, favorite show then. It's more of an anime, but I would say like the Fate series right now. It's like they have several of the series on Netflix are really good. They just put out one called Fate Apocrypha. Basically, it's just like all these characters that are from like historical figures are pulled in and summoned by mages to fight each other. And normally it's like you have only like 7 people. This was like 14. It was like 7 versus 7, and other characters get pulled in occasionally. It was just like this giant like fan service
cluster.
It was really good. And Daredevil's really good, like you said. I need to still watch like Punisher. Luke Cage has been really good. Jessica Jones. I mean, really good stuff there. And then last bit was comic manga, right?
Yeah.
So comic I've been loving right now is the Injustice series. Caught up on. I talked about this last episode, but caught up on like Injustice's years 1 through 5. Been reading Injustice 2 up to date as best I can. Just really good, really not, like a good amount of dark, but still like really well grounded. Like it's not just like over the top gory or like, oh yeah, you die, kill everybody.
Game of Thrones.
It's very like if this person's gonna die, there's a reason, there's build up, and it's done very very well. Haven't played the games yet, but have
you not played one either?
No,
wow.
For just the comics though, they're so good.
I think I own that. You can borrow it.
For one, I would at this point it plays very much like Mortal Kombat 9, so I would just watch the cutscenes and then just go straight into 2. That's what I would recommend.
Gotcha.
For me, let's go in. I've been a lot of American comic centric, so I'll go manga. One of my favorite all time mangas is Kingdom. It takes place. It takes place in ancient China. This would be around the unification of China. This would be before like the Romance period of the Three Kingdoms. Fantastic. I don't want to go too much into it because I'll just start talking. We're trying to wrap things up. But fantastic series. It is a shonen manga. It's got around, I think, I don't know, 400, 500?
We're close to 600.
600 now? Yeah. A lot of issues. It's really good. I'm a little behind on it, actually.
So good.
TV shows. I'm going to go with maybe a comedy. We've all kind of got into our like serious dramas, so I will go with... Let's go with Friends. Friends is fantastic. I love Friends.
I love Friends.
If we're talking comedy, I'd say Scrubs.
Scrubs is probably my favorite comedy of all time. But I'm going to go Friends because I've watched it recently on a read-through, and I love it.
Yes, I know. They took it off Netflix.
No.
What?
TV series. Gurren Lagann.
Well, okay, yeah.
It's only you only had to say one. This you keep
I'm
it.
just saying.
You
How
can
did
keep
we
it. We're
not
going to
say
do
that?
this segment more, so you can
We were
keep
just
doing
talking
it.
about that like the other day.
Gurren Lagann requires its own episode. Let's be honest. We'll talk about that another
And then
time. So,
for movie for me would probably I'm a huge Quentin Tarantino fan, so I'd say Django Unchained. Absolutely love that movie.
it's such a good movie.
Have you seen it yet?
That's a crime.
I've seen the one scene with the golf ball
I'm
sound.
guessing,
where she shoots through the
I'm
head.
guessing it's in your pile and you own it.
I actually don't own it.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the Action Cousins podcast. I'd like to thank Dustin for joining us this week, and we will see you out. And don't fix that leg, guys.